Hey hockey player, Coach Garner here from hockeytraining.com. In this video, I want to talk to you about what you should be doing on non-training days. We get this question here a lot and it comes in different forms. Some people are like, hey, what should I do when I'm not in the gym? Or what should I do when I'm not on the ice? Or, hey, is there anything I can add to my current training program in order to become a better hockey player? There's a lot of ways to phrase this question, but I'm gonna knock them all down here and give you the best recommendations for stuff that you can do when you're not in the gym or not on the ice. First and foremost, we have to keep the main goal in place, okay? There's a saying that I really like. The main goal is to keep the main goal the main goal. So let's not forget, we're here to become better hockey athletes, not overtrain ourselves. So we have to emphasize recovery. If recovery wasn't a necessary part of the hockey performance continuum, then we would just train every single day year round and continuously and progressively get better. But we know that that's not the case. Even people whose lives are dedicated to the gym, such as bodybuilders who are professional bodybuilders, they do not train longer than 2 hours. They know that they're gonna place a training stimulus on their body and that's a wrap. If it was the case where recovery wasn't important, then they would absolutely be in there for 8, 9, 10 hours a day, 7 days a week. The reason why recovery is such an important component to hockey performance is you aren't what you can do. You only are what you can effectively recover from. And what I mean by that is the difference between stimulus and adaptation. You do not build muscle in the gym. You do not build strength in the gym. You do not create power in the gym. You do not build endurance in the gym. What you do in the gym is create a stimulus for strength, a stimulus for muscle growth, a stimulus for more power, or a stimulus for more endurance. Everything that you do outside of the gym determines whether or not you'll actually adapt to that stimulus. You need to have both in check because your training is your stimulus for change, but your adaptation determines whether or not you will actually change. You ever come across somebody who trains hard and frequent year round, but doesn't have that much results to show for it and really hasn't become that much of a better hockey player? That's somebody who's all stimulus, no adaptation. They haven't figured out the adaptation side of the spectrum yet. They think they don't need deloads. They don't pay attention to their nutrition. They don't manage their stress, and they don't sleep well every single night. These are all the vital components when it comes to actual adaptation. So understand that non-training days are non-training days because you're adapting to the stimulus that you placed on your body yesterday, okay? Stimulus, adaptation. So we're emphasizing recovery because we're keeping the main goal, which is we understand that we aren't what we can do, we only ever are what we can recover from. That's adaptation. That's how you become a better hockey player. Having emphasized that and made that point, there are still things that you can do that will not tap into your recovery reserves and still allow you to become a better hockey player, such as hockey mobility. Hockey mobility drills, hockey mobility exercises, hockey mobility flow drills, hockey mobility circuits. These are all things that do not tap into your recovery reserves. They are what I would consider penalty-free volume. They add additional training volume to your weekly training volume, but they do not come at the penalty of tapping into your recovery reserves. So it's something you can do safely and effectively on your non-training days to improve your performance, to unlock your hips so you can do mohawk turns better, to make sure you've got ankle stability and mobility so you can work on your edge work better out in the ice. These are all things that mobility can offer you that help you become a better hockey player, but won't take away from your results from all the stimulus that you tried to place upon yourself yesterday. Hockey mobility, great option. Hockey yoga, Pretty much the exact same thing as hockey mobility, but simply just not as direct. You can run an ankle-specific mobility circuit for your edge work, a hip-specific mobility circuit for your mohawk turns. There are things you can do the shoulder-specific to ensure you've got proper range of motion in the shoulder and that you're not getting injured out in the ice. These things are mobility-specific, whereas yoga is a lot more total body and activates mobility in a different way, but is also very, very good for stress management. What if you remember previously, that is an important component of the adaptation spectrum. So hockey yoga is something you can do on your off days that won't tap into your recovery reserves, that'll absolutely help you become a better hockey player. Next is your skill work. You can still focus on skills. I'm a very big fan of working on stick handling drills and shooting drills on your non-training days, provided you're not going crazy with them. It should be less than an hour of work, and you should have no more than a super light sweat on. You should never be out of breath. It's something where you're really trying to hone your technique. So this is a day of quality and not quantity. When you're doing your at-home skill work on non-training days, always think that quality, not quantity. All right? This is something that won't tap into your recovery reserves, but will have a direct translation to improving your performance out in the ice, because it doesn't much matter how much stimulus you've adapted from or how mobile you are if you don't have the skills to bring the goods when it counts out in the ice. You got to have the skill development as well, and you can do low intensity work at home and become a way better hockey player for it. Just think about it. If you and your opponent are both on the exact same hockey training program, but you do 30 to 60 minutes of skill work every non-training day, well, that might be 3 days per week, 3 extra hours of skill work per week. What's that going to account to at the end of a year, or at the end of just an off season or an in season, or at the end of 5 years? It's going to be of no surprise or shock to anybody why you're the way better hockey player out in the ice, because you've put the time in the right place in order to get the right result. Okay? So skill work is very big. Next, you can study the game. Don't under-respect how mental hockey is. A lot of people already get this. If you had 2 athletes and one was confident and understood the game and the other one had the exact same physical capabilities but wasn't as confident and couldn't read the ice as well, who do you think is going to play better? The mentally ready hockey player 10 times out of 10. And we've got a huge luxury these days. You've got YouTube, you've got IGTV, you've got these different areas where you can watch myself and learn a lot about becoming a better hockey player, but you can also learn the game. You can watch your favorite hockey player, and instead of be entertained, be in a learning mindset. Be in a growth mindset. Watch your favorite hockey player. Where are they on the ice when the puck is at a certain spot? What plays do they use? How are they positioning themselves? Where are they? All of this stuff, you should be making a mental note of it. Now, I don't want to talk too much about studying the game, because the plays that your coach wants you to perform may be different than what I would talk about in this video or what Kevin would talk about in a video. It's very team specific, but understand you can learn so much by studying the game on your off days, and you'll absolutely become a better hockey player for it, because you're going to have more upstairs when it comes to your on-ice performance. That is so important for expressing your physical skills. If you are not mentally ready, you're never truly going to be physically prepared. So study the game and become a better hockey athlete. Last but not least, you've got your nutrition. Nutrition is probably one of the biggest. Nutrition and sleep, stress management, these things, they are the biggest things when it comes to adapting from the stimulus that you're placing yourself in the gym. Nutrition doesn't stop on non-training days. Hockey athletes got to get out of the mindset of only caring about their pre-workout meal and their post-workout meal. You should be thinking like an athlete 24 hours a day, not 1 hour a day. Adaptation happens 24 hours a day. Your stimulus happens for 1 hour per day. So what do you think is going to net you the better result? Your 1 hour or the other 23, including 24, because you're adapting during the training session as well. What is happening? What do you think is going to get a better result? They both need to be there. And your non-training days, people will take the day off in terms of nutrition. When do you think you're doing your most recovering? It's on your non-training day. Training days are about expenditure, non-training days are about recovery. So nutrition should be just as good. And you don't need to lower your calories on non-training days just because you're not working out. You want to use those additional calories to support recovery, to support protein synthesis, to support muscle glycogen replenishment, to support nervous system recovery, to support everything that you want to support so that you can maximally adapt from what you did in a previous training session. Keep calories the same, still focus on your nutrition, and then use the extra time that you have today to improve your nutrition for future dates. So if you don't go to the gym, look, a lot of people, they commute to the gym for a half hour, and then they, at the gym, they do their warm-up, their workout, their cool down, and they commute home. Like, by the time that whole thing is said and done, it could easily be 2 hours. You could do meal prep in 2 hours on your non-training days. So the time that you're not spending at the gym could be used in the kitchen, and you could get your meal prep done, honestly, in an hour or less, and that would suffice for the next 3 to 4 days so that you can stay on top of fueling your body for optimal performance, but then supporting your body for optimal recovery. Never overlook this, and your non-training days is when you have the time in your schedule to really get ahead of the game and take advantage of your nutrition. All right? This is how you become a better hockey player even when you're not training, okay? Hockey training, it's a funny thing because the hardest worker in the room does not always get the best result. It's the hockey athlete who's able to put their hard work into the most intelligent slots for improving their performance that's going to get the best result. You need to put your hard work into the correct things at the correct time, at the correct dose in order to get the best result. Because if you're somebody who just works hard all the time, you might be somebody who's all stimulus and no adaptation. Perform all of these things to make sure that your mental game, your physical game, your skill game, and your nutritional game are all at a 10 out of 10 level this year. Got it? Good. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something from it. If you like it, please smash the thumbs up button and also subscribe to this channel as well. And if you want to download your free Relentless conditioning package, click on the link in the comment section below. Let's go.